guys. Questions for Jacob? Steve?
Jake, just when you look at your night tonight, obviously you came out of the gate with really great stuff. How are you able to just continue to be effective as the command started to wane a little bit there at points?
Yeah, it was like I said before, trying to make pitches when I needed to. That's what I was able to do tonight. I got to tip my hat to Trent. That homer, I felt like that was a good pitch, and he just got to it. So, after that, and then I ended up walking him. But, in spots with runners in scoring position, the main focus was one pitch at a time and make the pitch I needed to make.
Those two moments that stand out were in the third inning and then the fifth inning where you had two runners on and were able to get three big strikeouts. Just was it something specific in those at-bats that you were able to, come through with?
Yeah, it was just trying to slow everything down, like I said, and, really execute. Try not to leave anything over the middle and throw it where I needed to throw it. And, I was fortunate enough that I was able to do that in those situations.
Over there right now, Andy?
On that Machado strikeout, I was just wondering why you decided to go all sliders in that at-bat.
That's a good question. What did I do? That was what, the third at-bat?
Yeah, you'd struck him out with a fastball in the previous at-bat.
Yeah, that was mainly trying to read his swing, and then I had a good feel for the slider right then. So I was like, you know what, I'm going with this, and hopefully I can get him to chase off, and, I was able to.
In that inning, did you like your secondary stuff more than your fastball? It seemed like.
Yeah, that inning I did. I think that's the inning I gave up the hit down the line to Profar, though, on the slider. Yeah, that's the one that I wish I wish I would have went fastball. But, felt like I had a good feel for it. I just threw too many in a row to him, and he kept one fair. So, and then with Machado, there's more room for air. You don't have to worry about hitting him when it's going that way. So, felt like I had a good feel for it.
Okay, we're going to go Joe, far left.
Two things if possible. Are you in a position right now where you're trying to figure out start to start more than ever what you have for the game?
Yeah, my changeup wasn't great. I threw probably the best one I threw was to Bell, and he got a single off of it. So then it was, kind of fastball slider for most of the night. I only threw one curveball, I believe. But it was just sticking with those two pitches. Once I felt like I figured out where my slider was going, didn't want to get beat on, a third or fourth best pitch.
And the other one is before, during, or when you were done with your start, did you have any moment where you thought, if this doesn't go right, this could be my last start here with the Mets?
I guess that went into my mind, but the hope was we'd win a baseball game and continue to keep playing. So, like I said yesterday, the goal was to put us in a position to win or give us a chance and pass it on to Bassett. So our guys did a good job of coming out and putting together good at-bats and getting Blake out of there early and then putting up some runs late. So, go try to win a baseball game tomorrow.
Down here on the right.
At what point did that cross your mind?
I don't know exactly.
Pre-game or?
10:45. Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue, honestly.
And then in the fifth inning, you mentioned slowing down, making sure you're even more that you execute. In a job where you have to be always focused 100% of the time, what is it like in those moments when you have to focus somehow even more?
Yeah, I was trying to make a little bit of a mechanical adjustment in this start. I felt like in Atlanta and Oakland, I was leaning a little bit and not balanced how I wanted to be. So I was trying to get that out of my head and be like, hey, you have to throw this pitch where you need to. Try to eliminate every other thought and execute in the moment. And like I said, I was fortunate enough that I was able to do that.
Stay right here, on the right.
Was there any discussion in between the fifth and sixth about you going back out? I know there was a meeting on the mound in the fifth, and what did you feel like going back out for the sixth, which seemed that you just sort of cruised through that one?
Yeah, they asked how I was doing. I said, I'm good to go. Let's keep going. And I actually felt like I had my best stuff in the sixth inning. Slider was good. Fastball, I felt like I finally actually to Drury, threw one down in a way where I wanted. It was kind of they were all early on. They were just a little bit off, and then not quite the height I wanted them. So I felt like I made an adjustment there, and like I said, the sixth inning I actually felt the best.
Second row on the left.
You mentioned your other elimination game start against LA yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Did this feel at all like that in some of the bigger moments for you?
Yeah, definitely. Especially throwing here. Win or go home. And like I said, love pitching here. And, Mets fans have been great to me. Didn't want to disappoint, so wanted to go out there and give us a chance. And, we were able to win a game.
Jacob, thank you.
Thank you.
Steve?
Buck, when you guys have been at your best as an offense, you've been really working deep counts and making life pretty difficult on the pitchers. What did you see out of the at-bats across the board tonight that was different than certain games recently where that approach hasn't seemed to be the same?
Well, it's tough on a night like tonight where you know how much it means to move to tomorrow, and it's so easy to get out of it. It takes a lot of discipline because you want to score runs and you want to give Jake something to work with, and it's just not in a competitive person or athlete to, sometimes less is more, and that's hard to do, and that showed a lot of discipline tonight. Of course, the pitcher has to be throwing some balls too. I think we had 9 walks and a hit by pitch, so we're proud of everybody, the discipline it takes to, when you want something, your tendency is to go get it physically instead of trying to stay with that. It's a real tribute to the players.
Is that a message that you got across before the game, given the stakes of tonight's game, that you may have a natural tendency to get out of what you're doing and you have to fight it a little more?
No, all season long, I've had a lot of faith and trust. It's very early on in the spring. I knew that Shabby and Jeremy were going to be able to take that on, and the players have bought in, and they have a meeting before every game. Some of them are short, some of them are longer, and I know what's being said, and I know a lot of those things are led by the players, so it means a lot more when it comes from them. But what does it mean for tomorrow? Well, if you had the command that Darvish had, sure, it was a tough night to grip the baseball. It was tough, cold, real cold, almost caught my different parts of me on fire tonight. I did go down and get in front of that heater a couple times.
Go far left, Joel.
Was your intention, if it stayed tight, to go to the finish line with Diaz?
No, not in the 30s. But those 2 innings they were in the batting order. We had trouble with Grisham, and probably not. Yeah, I wasn't planning on pitching the 3rd inning with him. Now, if he, there's a lot of things that might change that. If he has 2 8-pitch innings, I would think about it. He was up the runway in the cage. He threw a little bit because it was such a long inning.
The other thing is, do you feel you are close to having a full Jacob DeGrom right now, or is this just a version of who he usually is?
That's a good question. I haven't had him before this year, so what he's doing is really hard to do, and not many people in baseball can do it, especially so. Whatever version it is, I'm okay with. So I can't. It's good. Those guys are on top of the game, trying to, take the second game and go home, and Jake just wouldn't allow it. So we got our work cut out for us tomorrow, and all hands on deck.
Andy, first row.
Was it the way that DeGrom finished the 5th that convinced you to send him out for another inning? Would you have done that? I mean, not regardless, but did you feel like he caught some momentum the way he finished that allowed you to push him?
A little bit. We talked to Jake in between. I talked to him after the 6th, but when every pitch is such high intensity, the first pitch of the game is high leverage, as everybody calls it, in games like this. So, but there's also a little extra adrenaline reservoir to pick from, I think, in games like this. So, there's you go for it, it is, and Jake, all our guys are guys that it's easy to put your head on the pillow because they get it.
With Diaz, I assume you expect to have him tomorrow.
We'll see. Yeah, who knows what tomorrow might bring. We might have the same thing we had with Joely. We'll see. I don't expect it. Same way with Otto.
Here, Dave?
So Buck with Diaz, he threw 19 pitches, I guess, in the first inning, and then he was for 40.
18.
18 for the 45.
You know what? You may be right because I saw 18 and maybe it flashed 19. You're probably right and I'm wrong.
But he and he was underneath for like 45 minutes after that. And you said he threw in the back.
No, we put a mound in the cage.
Right.
Maybe have already been there. You know, it was spring we put it in the cage.
That's not something that happens a lot with a closer.
Well, a lot of times you don't have half an hour with cold weather, but he was good. He was really after me and let him finish the 8th. We're trying to save some bullets there, and we like the Auto matchup. But big out there with Lugo. Come in, face a tie and run, and that kind of weather against a lethal hitter. That's a big out. That's not easy to do. We're lucky to have Seth there.
Third row there on the left.
The big play was DeGrom's backing up third base early in the game. And then I think also the block of the pitch, second throw, it was a big momentum swing. And when you do, and Canna stand right beside him, when something like that happens, other teams, I actually think it's almost a momentum swing. When you do something right fundamentally and, you reward it. There's not many pitchers are there and two make that play. What an athletic play off there. We're lucky it didn't go in there.
Third row there on the left.
Look, I know that if you don't win tonight, you don't get to tomorrow. But when you put that 4 spot up, is in the back of your mind maybe say, you know what, we've got a 5-run lead now, maybe shut down Diaz and save him for tomorrow?
It crossed my mind if they, the whole idea when we brought him in was Grissom had been hurting us, and I was going to take him through a certain part that set up better for the rest of the bullpen. He's going to have to pitch somewhere. It depends on where they fall in the order. It crossed my mind, but at 7-2 and Manny leading off, we'll think about tomorrow. We need to get this one on our belt.
We got one more back here. Clap. Over on the right.
Buck, could you just walk us through on your decision to use Diaz in the 7th inning?
That's what I just talked about. What else? What was my decision to?
You're thinking just,
As I say, they had Grissom, who, I'll say it again, they had Grissom there who'd been hurting us in the top of their order, which had been hurting us, and, I'm going to take my best pitcher and face their order, hope that they don't come up again, and I think it was pretty obvious by what went on in the 9th inning why we did it that way.
Thanks, Buck.
Okay, thank you.